The difference between madhab, religion, and deen. My dear ones, you can see that the driving force behind their opposition was never truly religious. It was entirely an economic issue. Later, we shall see how madhab, religion, becomes an economic matter, while deen regulates the economy of mankind under God's values and laws, making it a means of human development. This is the essential difference between deen and madhab. After Prophet Isa, Jesus, alayhi salam, we come to the era of the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He established the system in such a way that very few parallels can be found. But what happened to the deen established by earlier prophets also happened to Islam. After the first generation, Sadri Awwal, monarchy, Mulukiya, arose, and with it the religious priesthood came into existence. How this happened and what its causes were is a very important subject, which I have explained in detail in the last chapter of my book, Shaqari Risalat. From this, it becomes clear how deen was transformed into madhab. When it became madhab, deen was divided into two parts. The part taken over by the religious priesthood was no longer called deen but madhab. In English, this was translated as religion. When they took control of matters related to madhab, worldly affairs were handed over to the government. Thus, a secular system was established, a system in which madhab has no connection with governance and governance does not interfere in madhab. After the first generation, this became the form of Islam, and it has remained so until today. According to this view, the existence of an independent state is not necessary for following the Sharia. Prayer, fasting, pilgrimage, zakah, the pillars of Islam, can be observed under any government, and that is considered sufficient to fulfill Islam's purpose. As for God's sovereignty, it was confined to the hereafter, not this world. Thus, when interpreted through madhab, Maliki Yawmiddin 1:3 is translated as Master of the Day of Judgment, meaning the Day of Resurrection, with no connection to this world. This is the deception that the religious priesthood has perpetuated from the beginning. In this way, deen is reduced to madhab. At the time of the Qur'an's revelation, only religions, madhabs, existed in the world. No system of deen was in place. Even now, including among Muslims, only religions exist. Deen as a system does not. The difficulty with other religions was that they no longer had God's book in its original form, so their religions could not be transformed back into deen. But in our case, the Quran remains preserved in its original, unaltered form. Therefore, for Muslims, the re-establishment of the system of deen is not impossible. If Muslims establish an independent state and decide to structure their system according to the Quran, that will result in the re-establishment of deen. That is why I have always emphasized that Islam should not be called a madhab. It is not a religion, it is deen. Therefore, it must always be referred to as deen.